Hello everyone, I'm Advocate Babita Shukla. Welcome to our channel Unique Law Adda. In this video, we dive into Chapter 4, Section 9 to 11 of the Prevention of Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act 2013, also known as POSH Act, with key case laws to understand your rights and responsibilities. Now let's understand Section 4, 9 to 11, POSH Act 2013. Chapter 4, which consists of complaint. Section 9, complaint of sexual harassment. Section 10, conciliation. Section 11, inquiry into complaint. What are the key provisions? Sexual harassment at the workplace is not just unethical, it is illegal. Sexual harassment is a violation of fundamental rights, the right to live with dignity and the right to equality at the workplace. Today, we'll explore Chapter 4, Section 9 to 11 of the POSH Act 2013 in detail, including how to file a complaint, what happens next, and what the law says. Section 9, Complaint of Sexual Harassment. Let's begin with Section 9, Complaint of Sexual Harassment. The section outlines the procedure for a woman to file a complaint of sexual harassment at the workplace. What it says, a woman who feels she has been sexually harassed at the workplace can file a written complaint with internal complaint committee or local committee within 3 months of the incident, right? So this time can be extended by another 3 months if there are valid reasons for the delay. If the woman is unable to make the complaint herself due to her physical or mental incapacity or death, her legal heirs, relatives, friends, co-workers can file it on her behalf. Now let's understand key points of Section 9. First is written complaint. The aggrieved women must submit a written complaint to the internal committee if working in organization with 10 or more employees or local committee if there is no IC in place. The complaint should be filed within 1 month of the date of the incident. So within 1 month that complaint should be filed, but the committee has power to extend the time period by another 3 months if the women can justify the reason. If she has, that aggrieved women has justified reasons for the delay, then this period can be extended for more 3 months. Point number 2, assistance of incapacitated. If the woman is unable to file the complaint due to physical or mental incapacity, death, or any other reason, then under such circumstances, her legal heir, friends, relatives, co-workers, or any person who knows about the incident can file the complaint on her behalf. Let's understand it through case laws. Case law first, Vishakha versus State of Rajasthan 1997. The historic case involves Banwari Devi, a social worker who was gang raped for stopping a child marriage. She was trying to stop a child marriage and then she was sexually abused. There was no law at that time to deal with sexual harassment at work. The Supreme Court laid down the Vishakha guidelines, which became the foundation of the POSH Act, recognizing sexual harassment as a violation of fundamental right under Article 14, 15, 19 1G and 21. Second case law is Dr. Punita K. Sodhi versus Union of India 2010. A women doctor alleged sexual harassment by a senior. The delay in filing the complaint was due to trauma. The court emphasized sensitivity and flexibility regarding limitation period in sexual harassment matters. Section 10. So let's understand what Section 10 says. So it talks about conciliation. Now let's talk about the Section 10 conciliation. What it says? Before starting an inquiry, the internal committee can try to resolve the matter. So what is the how it can be resolved through conciliation, but only if the aggrieved women request it. So it totally depends on the aggrieved women if she wants that matter should be resolved through conciliation. Importantly, no monetary settlement can be made as the basis of conciliation. Section 10 of the POSH Act gives the aggrieved women the option to resolve the matter through conciliation before a formal inquiry begins. What are the key features of Section 10? So, voluntary request only. Conciliation is not automatic. The aggrieved women must file a formal request to initiate it. Point number 2, no monetary deals. The law prohibits monetary settlement as a condition of conciliation. There should not be any monetary deal. If for this conciliation process, there should not be any monetary deal. The goal is not financial compensation, it's resolution, accountability, and fairness. Point number 3, settlement term. If a settlement is reached, the internal committee must record the agreement. Copies must be given to both the parties. Once the settlement is signed and accepted, no further inquiry is conducted. And if a settlement is reached, the internal committee will record it and provide copies to both the parties. Once conciliation is successful, no further inquiry is conducted. Now let's understand it through case laws. Real world example. In corporate setting, some women prefer conciliation to avoid public inquiry, especially in hierarchical workplaces. However, power dynamics should not coerce a settlement. Case law, Medha Kotwal Lele versus Union of India 2012, a very historic case. So let's understand through this particular case. The Supreme Court emphasized that conciliation must be transparent and voluntary. The court directed all government departments to strengthen internal complaint committee and avoid token settlements. Now let's understand about section 11 about the inquiry into the complaint. Section 11 is about the actual inquiry process. What it says? If conciliation isn't requested or fails, the internal committee begins an inquiry, treating it similarly to a disciplinary proceeding under the rules of the organization. If the respondent is not an employee, for example, or a visitor or a vendor, then IC can forward the complaint to the police under section 509 of the IPC, which deals with insulting a woman modesty. The inquiry must be completed within 90 days. So whatever inquiry is there, so it should be completed within 90 days, 3 months. Let's move to section 11, inquiry into complaint. The section details how the internal committee should conduct an official inquiry when conciliation fails or is not requested. Key provisions of section. So if the respondent is an employee, the committee will initiate an inquiry similar to the complaint disciplinary rules and service rules or standing orders. Both parties must be given an equal opportunity to be heard, right? Whosoever are present, both the parties should be given equal opportunity to be heard, present evidence and have witness. Point number 2, what is the time limit? The inquiry must be completed within 90 days, 3 months from the date of complaint. Point number 3, if the respondent is not an employee, if the accused is a vendor, customer or a third party, the committee must forward this complaint to the police under section 509 of IPC, who deals with words, gestures or acts intended to insult the modesty of a woman. Case law. Apparel Export Promotion Council versus A.K. Chopra, 1999. In the landmark case, the Supreme Court upheld the dismissal of a senior officer who made sexual advances towards a junior. The court ruled that even an attempt to violate a woman's dignity is punishable offense, reinforcing the preventive spirit of POSH. In short, the dismissal of a senior officer for sexually harassing a subordinate, stating that even an attempt at harassment violates the right to dignity under Article 21 of the Constitution. Case law: Saurabh Kumar Malik versus CAG 2011. In this case, the Delhi High Court clarified that an office can, if located in a guest house or non-conventional workplace, qualifies as a workplace under the POSH Act, meaning the IC must conduct inquiries even if it is in non-traditional settings. Procedure points: statements must be recorded, confidentiality must be maintained throughout, retaliation against the complaint or witness is strictly prohibited. Now, coming to the conclusion part, the POSH Act is a powerful tool that ensures safety, respect, and justice in the workplace. 9 to 11 lays down a clear path from filing a complaint to resolution and inquiry. So, to summarize, Section 9 explains women to file complaint within a reasonable time. Section 10 offers a chance for peaceful resolution without financial exploitation. Section 11 ensures a fair, time-bound inquiry and penal action if necessary. The POSH Act is a powerful right-based law, but its success depends on awareness, sensitivity, and implementation. Every employee and employer know how it works. So, let's build workplaces where respect is not negotiable. Share this video to spread awareness and subscribe for more content on women's rights and workplace law. Thank you.